If it's football coaches and you lose a few games, you're out. Now be honest. We give weathermen a lot of slack, but that's a great job. You can be wrong multiple times, and still everyone loves you. But you've got to think that if you're in the medical profession, or you're the guy that's supposed to be fixing the air conditioner at their house,
right.
They come over, or they still don't fix it. They come over next week, they still don't fix it. They do that, 15 times.
Right.
We're like getting a new air conditioner repairman.
Of course we are.
But what are we doing with our healthcare experts? Welcome into Alabama Unfiltered, your favorite podcast here in the state of Alabama. I am your host, Scott Beeson. Amy Beth Shaver is with me. Allison Sinclair is with me. They are our co-host. So welcome to the program. Ladies, how are y'all?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Allison?
Well, I've been better. I think, I don't know. We're passing the flu around, which is why I'm not there with y'all, which I hate because y'all sound like you're having a lot of fun. But I don't know. Have y'all heard about the new flu-rona that Israel has sent out? That now we have a flu-corona combination. So maybe we have flu-rona.
Is that what you think was what it is? Flu-rona?
I think we should. Put little stickers on each your house if you have the flu-rona. Make it even more banned from society.
It makes me giggle, just the name of it. So I'm going to say I have flu-rona.
Flu-rona. Okay. Unclean, flu-rona.
Shame.
I'm being serious now. How far is this going to go? Are we just going to make up new things to be terrified of? Now, COVID wasn't enough, and we found out that no one had the flu because the test couldn't tell the difference. That is a big thing, by the way,
yeah.
Is it not?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, y'all realize the CDC said between Christmas and New Year's, when no one is paying attention to the news, oh, by the way, those tests, they can't tell the difference in the flu and COVID.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the end goal is of this, but it's crazy because specifically, and flu-rona, like I said, it makes me giggle, but it's a legit thing that the New York Post put out a article about it. And they found like the one unvaccinated person in the country of Israel and blamed it all on her. She was pregnant and unvaccinated, and she had the flu and COVID. And I'm like, is this just, well, now they can just start pushing the flu shot and the COVID vaccination. Because, of course, in the highest vaccinated percentage-wise country, now they have this whole new spin up. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's just getting kind of more chaotic by the day. So
see, I was under this impression, and you tell me, Amy Beth, that Israel was kind of the go-to country. Oh, if they're doing it, and they will just walk down the road and jab people like this is your 14th booster and this is your 15th booster. I mean, they are all in.
Right. I mean, so at what point are you going to say that's enough? Like, are we going to give them like the stiff arm because the product that you said was going to make it all better is making it worse? So like, I don't know when it's over, but I personally feel like it's over when we say it is, and we're done listening to public health officials. They're not really doing a great job.
So how long do y'all think you can be called an expert and be wrong? If it's football coaches and you lose a few games, you're out. Now be honest. We give weathermen a lot of slack, but that's a great job. You can be wrong multiple times and still everyone loves you. But you've got to think that if you're in the medical profession, or you're the guy that's supposed to be fixing the air conditioner at their house,
right.
They come over, or they still don't fix it. They come over next week, they still don't fix it. They do that, 15 times.
Right.
We're like getting a new air conditioner repairman.
Of course we are.
But what are we doing with our healthcare experts?
I don't know. We were talking about earlier before the show started, and I'm going to do a little investigation into this, okay? So we have astute listeners. But it's found that the more educated you are, the more you will buy into and believe whatever they're telling you to do. So you need a 17th booster, get it, right? So we're trying to plead with these same people, whether they're in the medical profession or they're healthcare bureaucrats, and we're buying in. And I don't know how you reason with unreasonable people except to say, back away, just slowly back away. You're fired. I don't want to ever hear from you again. Okay, bye.
So I want to unpack that a little bit. So people who are highly trained,
Yes.
highly educated, do they have to consider themselves highly educated? Is that part of it?
I think it is. Because I think in part we're dealing with narcissists running our healthcare policy. And there's a
Who
kind
have
of people
always
we have to
kind of been ignored because they were like, hey, I'm going to be in healthcare.
Yes.
I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a scientist. And everyone should really consider me a god.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
then this is their chance.
Right.
Because for all these other years, they were like, hey, who's the NBA player? Who's the NFL player? And now it's like, you get to be on TV. You are the guy. You are the girl.
Right.
Give us your wisdom.
Right.
And
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've got to separate it out. So you've got the doctors that are training other doctors. You have doctors in private practice. And then you have doctors that go into healthcare bureaucracy, public health. So there's a separation between the public people and the private people. And there's a huge disconnect between the two. But it's the public health officials that are pushing these policies that you cannot even reason with them. You say, here's the data does not align with what you're telling us to do. And they're like, we don't care. It's like they put their fingers in their ear when we're 5 and your mom said, come in. You're like, I can't hear you.
right.
That's what we're doing right now.
Or we're the people out here going, why? And they say, I'm sure Allison has said this before. Why, Allison? Because I said so. That's
Right.
the answer.
That's right.
Because I said so.
Which is why I say walk away. What do you think, Allison?
All I know, if we're still talking about COVID and doctors and the mass hysteria that's going on, is it's driven by money and power and then this weird, I don't know, we've fallen into this trap of just blind trust of the people that are in charge of us, which most of them aren't even elected officials. They're bureaucrats that are in line with pharmaceutical companies or the government. And there's this whole sector of America that is just whatever they say goes. And really everything they're telling us now, when I say they, I mean like the CDC or Fauci, goes against all conventional wisdom of viruses and just medicine that we've always followed. So I'm not really sure. I mean, the longer this goes on, I just think it's very coordinated and it's very worrisome because it just doesn't, I don't know, how many people are blinded and just blindly follow is frightening, to be honest.
Well, really, what interests me is that so we don't run in the same circles. We're from different parts of town. And I know we're in Alabama. That's what this show is about. Alabama Unfiltered, talking about the things that other people aren't allowed to. And, you know, I'm from Gardendale. Y'all are from other parts of central Alabama. And the fact that we have a very similar take from different parts of town, how widespread do y'all think this questioning is in Alabama?
I think it's enormous. I think you have most reasonable people asking, where did our freedom go? Where is our informed consent? Where's our bodily autonomy? When can we do what we want to do? And that group of people is saying, we are going to do what we want to do, which is we're not going to listen to you. And the rest of if you divide it, you have other people saying, well, you're an idiot, you're getting called named, you're getting demeaned, dismissed, even destroyed. I mean, doctors who are speaking out on behalf of health freedom and informed consent are having their licenses looked into. They're
Here
being
in the state of
threatened.
Alabama.
Here in Alabama. I can't tell you who, but I can tell you I had a lunch and have spoken with people who are being looked into. And this is completely violating their constitutional rights.
Now, is this the Alabama Medical Association or is it?
There are people that we know
Okay.
that are speaking out on behalf of truth, whether it's in Alabama or nationally, and they are getting threatened. their livelihood is being threatened because they're speaking truth. And because the powers that be refuse to listen. And I don't know what we're going to do, except we're going to have to walk away from the public health officials. They are fired. We need to like wholesale fire them and move on to people who will listen to truth, who will listen to reason, and who will look at the data. The data has no feelings. It just is. So it's time that we return to that, you know, as far as our healthcare policy goes.
No, I agree completely. But I do think there'll be a time that we, the people, have to step in on behalf of those doctors
Yes.
who led the charge.
Yes, we do.
Because there are organizations that need to be held accountable. When all this comes out in the end and all the truth comes out in the end, I personally believe some of the folks who made it difficult for truth to come out need to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
This does not need to be forgotten. Partially because they are so willing to destroy
Yes.
people who want the truth out that there needs to be some poetic justice.
I agree with you. I really do.
I'm sure that we're going to talk COVID stuff more times in the future on other episodes of this podcast. But here is the cultural question for Alabama. This is the unfiltered Alabama part. Why is football in general, college football especially, why is it so big in Alabama?
I think a couple things. One, I think we have an inherent need for adventure. I think we are, men especially, you know, how do we battle these days? We don't. I mean, like Chris said, your groceries can come to your front door. What else excitement is there? Or what, you know, more excitement do you need than football, right? So there's like that battle mentality. People want to be a part of that.
So it's the warrior spirit.
I think it's that warrior spirit. Okay. It's excitement. But then I also think that people want to be a part of something bigger. And it gives you something, it has no party affiliation. It's just people getting together over something they agree upon, they love, and it's so much bigger than us. I don't know. I went deep on that, but that's what I think. People like being a part of that.
Why do people in Alabama, and I guess across the South, even in Tennessee, why do people gravitate? Why is football such a big part of their lives?
I want to say it goes back just generations, and it might go back to that. This is going to sound so awful, but like, there's not a lot to do. We don't have the big cities at the East Coast and the West Coast and some of the more industrial cities up north.
I mean, because if I had Broadway plays to go to, I would never watch Alabama football.
Well, I mean, and maybe it's just a genetics thing. I don't know, but I've really thought about it. I'm like, it's just part of the culture. It's like, it maybe really is in our genetic code as Southerners, because it's a weird phenomenon. Even high school football is huge. And I will say in Alabama, growing up in Tennessee, it's a big deal, but not like it is in Alabama. My husband played football at Vestavia, and it's like, they still get together and, like, relive the glory days a lot. So I don't know. It's Alabama has a culture all its own for sure.
There's always a lot of talk about the Scotch-Irish background of people in Alabama, a very warrior-esque, warlike tribalism will come and fight y'all tooth and nail, and we've taken a lot of grief across the South for that. But she said maybe it's genetic and it seems funny, but maybe there's a little truth there.
I think so.
I mean, you can see the guys in Braveheart, William
Absolutely.
Wallace. Those guys are painted up the wrong color, but
they were, bless them. But they got, anyway. I think that there is something inherent in our DNA. We were born to battle. We were born to run to the fight.
Now, is that a Southern thing, or are you talking about people in general?
I think that it is more pronounced in the South because I think it's more accepted because it's who we are. But I do think in general, speaking in terms of the United States, but also one of my daughters brought up, you look at other parts of the world like cricket or football, they have a rabid fan base like we are here. And so I think there's something to that DNA element of battle and warrior and being engaged in something as a people that brings us together. And I think we like it. We love it, actually.
And we express it, and we're proud of it. And there is some of that that community that goes even beyond Alabama. We're joking about Tennessee, but then there's that whole regional thing. I was watching, I think it was the bowl game that Arkansas was in, and someone was, doing the sideline commentary, and in the background they're chanting SEC.
Yeah.
And there's that camaraderie. And I don't know if it goes back to all the grief that we take. The Southerners always take so much grief. So we're like, okay, we can't invade you. We'll just beat you in football, and then we'll chant about it. I mean, I think there's something to it.
I don't know. It's definitely a force, and I think the country in general has to recognize. I don't know. It's just different. It just is. And I think it's interesting you bring up Scottish Irish heritage. I mean, my last name's Sinclair. Jared's family is very much a clan in Scotland. I've never thought about that. I was kind of joking about the genetic makeup, but maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Maybe so.
Interesting.
And I was thinking if we ever have to break up as a country, we can be the southeastern country.
Yes.
And we can keep the SEC logo, and we can chant and all that kind of stuff. It works out perfectly because it means
great.
we're already bonded together.
I like it.
I think it's great.
We have all kinds of things to do, but I think we've run over time just talking about 2 topics.
That's what we do here on Unfiltered Alabama.
We don't go by the schedule. Some of the people are going to be upset about it. Don't forget, by the way, I'm your host, Scott Beeson. Amy Beth Shaver, Allison Sinclair are the co-host here. This is Alabama Unfiltered. You can watch the video of this podcast at 1819news.com, YouTube, or over at Gab. I think that's right. You can listen to the audio version of this podcast at Spotify, and I spit all over the microphone, and at iTunes. So please go to those and make sure you give it 5 stars, tell other people about the program, and continue to listen. And we appreciate you being with us. This is Alabama Unfiltered.